Hey guys, and welcome to another build. So I was requested to make a tiny/small Japanese inspired home, and I really love Japan. I've never been, but I love their culture, and I thought it would be really fun to make a Japanese styled house. With that said, I have built the architecture is based on Japanese homes, but the interior is a little more translated to The Sims, so it's not as simplistic as some Japanese homes are. And also there are some decor items that are more generally Asian, not necessarily Japanese, but also a little bit in the Chinese culture, I guess. There isn't that many Japanese or just Asian things in general in The Sims, so I just took what I could find, and most of them ended up being from the Spa Day pack, which is a lot about which had a lot of decorations that were feng shui or whatever you call it. So I really tried my best with it, and I thought it was really fun to try, and it turned out okay considering it's The Sims 4 and there isn't that many things and I don't use custom content. So I hope you guys like it, and as I said, it's not as simplistic as some Japanese homes are, but I did still try to keep it a little bit simple. There is a TV because for The Sims you kind of need some entertainment sometimes to get their fun up, but besides that there isn't really much. They have 2 chairs for the TV and then they have a dining table, but it's not like the biggest home, so it is still quite small. But with that said, it's not really on a small lot because I really wanted to keep some of that, try to bring in some of that Chinese nature into it, which is why I decided to go for a pond, because when I searched for Japanese homes and traditional Japanese houses, they were all really close to some sort of lake or river, and I thought that would look really cute, so I decided to go for that as well. It's not that big, but it still gives that vibe I want. So I just made a little pond and dotted in some rocks here and there just to make it look a little bit more natural, and I also added a tree. It's a little bit I don't even know what to say, because in the beginning I really wanted to try to keep it as Japanese realistic as possible, but then again it went into some of the just generally East Asian culture decor items, and then also because there are some wall decorations that are Asian inspired, with the koi fish and these I don't know the English word for them. Basically these paintings that are hang from a scroll kind of, and I really wanted to incorporate those, but I felt like I was kind of moving away from the traditional style. So as I said, it is very much translated into The Sims, and I made it Asian inspired, so I guess it's really hard to make it fully Japanese, because especially the walls, the wallpaper, because I know that traditional Japanese homes have this rice paper in between them, on the walls, or in the walls, and I remember in The Sims 2 and also in The Sims 3 I think they had this wallpaper that really looked like that, but there just wasn't something I could find that directly matched here in The Sims 4, so I decided just to go for this wooden paneling inside, because there were a lot of the Japanese homes I looked at online that had wood paneling inside as well, so I decided to go for that and hoped it looked okay in the end. Also, I know that you normally use, in Japan you normally have these sliding doors as well, and you can't really get that in The Sims 4, which really bums me out, but I really tried to mimic that downstairs, because I decided, in the beginning I thought it would just be one big room with the kitchen, but I ended up separating the living room and the kitchen to 2 rooms, and then I tried to mimic there being a sliding wall going between the kitchen and the living room. So you could kind of, I don't know, you kind of have to know what it's supposed to look like, but when you know what it's supposed to be, you can kind of see it. So I hope you guys can see that as well. But yeah, here definitely in the bedroom, Because in Japan they normally sleep on the floor with these like mattresses they roll up, and you can't really get that, so I decided to go for the most Asian looking bed I could find, and that ended up being just a normal bed. So it kind of ended up being a Japanese-ish house, if that makes sense. I mean, from the outside it looks really Japanese, and then when you move inside it's a little more Sims, which is okay because it is in The Sims. So I mean, I'm not trying to fool anyone. It's not like people think this is an actual home. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to the kitchen, I didn't really have that much room because of course it still had to have some of that tiny build in it, and I tried to look up on some kitchens, and normally they don't really have the biggest kitchens. They tend to, or at least what I read about was they tend to use like other surfaces and kind of like they don't really need a kitchen to do everything in. So I decided just to go for the absolutely minimal in the kitchen. So they have a sink, a cooktop, and a fridge, and then of course just a normal working area. So, but besides that, they don't really have any more space. But again, it's a small home. It's only for 2 people maximum. So here I'm trying to mimic that sliding wall. And I used these frame thingies to hang up to kind of mimic that rice paper wall. And then I put these panels up and a little line on the floor to kind of show maybe where the sliding door goes. And then I also used that to transition from the wooden floors to more of a tile in the kitchen. More of a tile. Well, it is a tile. And for the living room, I was really struggling because, I mean, I still wanted it to be nice to play with in The Sims, so I didn't want it to be just like these tiny stools for them to sit on. So I ended up going for these green chairs just to have a little accent color in it, so it didn't become too dark and brown everywhere. And I think it looked okay. I mean, moving a little bit away from the whole Japanese style, but it still works kind of. I mean, it works here. Hopefully. And here I'm plotting in some of the Asian images from The Sims, so the koi fish and some of those scroll painting things. And of course I really wanted there to be a bookshelf because, again, in The Sims there are some things you need. I didn't add a computer. That was the one thing I didn't add because I thought that would really just take this away from the whole traditional Japanese style. So I mean, I have the TV. Oh, I'm contradicting myself. But I mean, you have the phone in case you need a computer. And of course, depending on how Japanese you want your character or your Sims to be, you can always remove or add some of the things to the house that you think are lacking or are just abundant. So moving on to the outside, I kind of just added a little tree here and there. And I mean, I did build this on like a nature lot, but I thought in case you wanted to have this in a town, I did kind of shield off the front of the house with this fence, or this really tall fence, and then I kept the back of it open so the pond wouldn't be like totally just barred in, because I thought that would be kind of weird. So I ended up going for a little cherry blossom tree, and then another one of these from I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, this tree that like kind of bends in the middle. I really like that tree, and I think it looks really Asian. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm just going in, adding in the last details, adding in a bin. And voila, here's the last, well, here is the result, I guess. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I did add some Japanese things here and there, but it was really hard with The Sims 4. Anyways, it's up for download in case you want to have it in your game. And if there's anything you want to see, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!